Greetings and welcome to another CVMSDC Virtual Capabilities Briefing. Our special guest today is Glenn Gonzalez of JETIT. I'm your event producer, Taya Bolton, with the PR Pros team, and I'm super excited to be here with you for another informative session. Before we get started, I'd like to just cover a bit of housekeeping with you. All of our audience participant lines are muted. However, we do want to hear from you, so you can submit a question using the question box featured in the GoToWebinar dashboard on your screen. It's normally docked in the upper right-hand corner. And also, we want you to know that today's session is being recorded, so you'll be able to view this later with yourself and with your like-minded colleagues. It'll be on the CVMSDC website at cvmsdc.org/webinars. Now, without any further ado, I am pleased to introduce our CVMSDC President and CEO, Dominique Milton, to open up today's session.
Thank you, Taya, for that introduction. And thank you, Glenn Gonzalez, for joining us today. I'm so excited to be able to present your company to our audience and to your potential customers, JETIT. So Glenn Gonzalez is the founder and CEO of JETIT LLC, a disruptor in the provision of private transportation. Mr. Gonzalez is a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force Reserve. And I think that's important, Glenn, because I didn't tell you beforehand, but I'm part of the 1% Club. I've jumped out of an airplane in a tandem jump, and I felt totally comfortable because I did it with someone from the military. And so I was totally comfortable. So the fact that Mr. Gonzalez has an MBA from Darla Moore School of Business, he studied at Embry-Riddle, which is the top aeronautical school in the country, and he has his BS from the United States Air Force Academy should give everyone comfort as he runs this organization. Prior to forming JETIT, Glenn provided transportation solutions as a regional sales manager for the Eastern United States for Honda Aircraft Company. In this role, Glenn developed and executed a sales communication and marketing business plan and strategy to sell Honda's first venture into aviation, the $5 million Honda Jet. Now, a fun fact about Glenn is that he holds 4 speed records with the Federal Aeronautic International Association. 2 are in the Honda Jet that he helped bring to market, and 2 in the Gulfstream G280. So without further ado, I want to turn it over to Glenn, who we can't get his face up today so you can see him personally. However, we are going to go through his slides and you will hear his voice. So Glenn, I'm going to turn it back over to you to present to us JETIT and how we can all fly safely in private aviation. Thank you so much, Glenn, for joining us today.
My pleasure, Dominique. Thank you very much. Congratulations on being part of the 1% Club. That is a club in aviation that I am not a part of. In 2,000 hours, I've landed every airplane safely, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity. Thank you both, and Taya and the CVMSDC. We're very excited to be members of the MSDC in the Carolinas and Virginia region, and we're also extremely excited to share about JETIT. Next slide, please. We'll touch base on a couple of items. One, who we are. We'll then go into how JETIT can help you eliminate life's barriers. We'll talk about our program itself, us being private, fast, and smart. That's one of our taglines. And we'll conclude with some of our supporters, people who utilize our services currently and help us promote who we are in this space. Next slide, please. For the small and medium-sized business owners out there, and for anyone else, who you are oftentimes as a company starts with your leadership. In our case, my passion for flight began as far as I can remember as a child. My mom will tell you stories of how I'd jump off of the old school console televisions in belief that I could fly. And so my desire to be in the skies and amongst the clouds began decades ago. With that, though, that led me to the United States Air Force Academy. I did have an opportunity to play Division I sports there and to gain one of the top education experiences in the world. Like Naval Academy, like West Point, I concluded my time there after graduating and then went into the military, where I served as an instructor pilot for the students going on to fly fighters and bombers. And then I reached my dream at that time, which was to fly fighters. I flew the F-15. I've had a chance to fly and fire missiles from an aircraft, fire the gun on the aircraft, all in a simulated environment, thankfully, but was definitely prepared to do whatever we needed to defend our country and our nation. And I'm grateful and very proud, especially with Labor Day and Memorial Day coming up, to be a veteran and to speak on behalf of other veterans. Throughout my entire career, I've been incredibly service-oriented, even as a child growing up, getting involved in our local food banks at our church, within our community at assisted living facilities and nursing homes. Service has been a part of who we are. And it's not just a service in reference to the military. It's been a service just supporting anyone and everyone who might have a need. And very fortunately, we've been able to, as a platform, offer flying time to a number of organizations, in particular, children's organizations. Our children's focus is typically just geared to the fact that oftentimes some children don't have an opportunity to defend for themselves or to fend for themselves. So we've raised just shy of $1 million in a very short period of time by offering the use of our airplanes at various different auctions to introduce people to who we are, but more so to gain an opportunity to help young people who may not have an opportunity to support themselves. Next slide, please. That being said, we at JEDIT, we are a highly diverse group. We recognize that there are a number of individuals who paved the way, and it's kind of storied how the gentleman in the images there, the older gentleman, is now Brigadier General Charles McGee. Charles McGee is an original Tuskegee Airman. He has flown the most combat missions of anyone around the world, especially within our U.S. military. He was one of the original Tuskegee Airmen, and I had an opportunity to first meet him as I was just getting my military career started as an instructor pilot, and then had the fortunate opportunity to share a flight with him as JEDIT began. That was our very first experience, and you can see Colonel McGee and I on his 99th birthday flying in the Honda Jet. It was widely distributed with him promoting that and being in the Washington Post. And the third image there with myself and the other gentleman in the Air Force flight suit, he is actually a protege of mine who ended up going on to become the F-22 demonstration pilot for the Air Force. The three of us are essentially three generations of African-American pilots, and we're very proud of that and recognizing those individuals who paved the way for us and for JEDIT. So we like to talk about that in reference to our service, but making sure that we acknowledge where we began. And that's who we are as a company, through me, through our service mindset, and through our history as well. Next slide, please. That being said, we created JEDIT in recognition of private aviation is expensive. It is challenging at times to have an opportunity to travel from A to B, and in today's pandemic environment with the coronavirus and the number of exposure points, commercial travel and commercial airlines and the coronavirus are just not a good mix. So what we've created with JEDIT is a private solution that provides you with flexibility, comfort, safety, productivity, the opportunity to get a lot more work done in a private environment with only the people that you invited to join you on that flight. So yourself and three co-workers or the executives of your company having an opportunity to get to and from where they need to go without being exposed to the pandemic. In addition, though, we are reasonable. It's now justifiable to use private aviation, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, but the fixed expenses tied to this industry are relatively high. You have to acquire the aircraft. You have to hire and maintain the training levels of flight crews and management fees associated with the aircraft. With JEDIT, all of those things are pulled away from you. We take care of all of those things, and we now make using private aviation justifiable. The last piece of that is, look, life is tough. There's not a lot of time in the day, and the one thing that we'll never get back is time. and we can increase your productivity and ultimately your revenue as a company. And that's where Jedit comes in, and that's what we do best, by giving you time, which is a distinct luxury that we all have a limited amount of. Next slide, please. So with Jedit, we are a hybrid ownership program. Individuals are buying a piece of the airplane. You can buy it as a company, and from there, you only pay $1,600 an hour to utilize the aircraft. There is a monthly management fee that is shared between the owners, and you can see along the bottom there, your company can use the airplane for a number of days throughout the year, whether it be 25 days or 130 days. 25 days meaning I probably have a distinct trip that I need to do to get to some austere location that might require 2 connections on the commercial airlines, but I'm going to do that trip once a month. 130 days being, there's a trip that we need to send a team of engineers on Monday and bring them home every Friday. And that's going to be, of course, only 110 days, and you still have another 20 days available to you throughout the year. That being said, we have structures situated and prepared for anyone and everyone. And while you're flying on these aircraft, as you can see the aircraft there, you're only paying $1,600 an hour. You're only paying while you're airborne. There's no time while the airplane's sitting on the ground and waiting for you. So it works beautifully for those individuals who may need to fly from one destination, wherever your home office is. You leave the office, you proceed directly to the private airport nearest to your home or that office, and then you fly to your destination. You have a meeting or two, then you can fly to another destination, have a meeting there, and then return home to be with your family that evening, or to return to the office if so necessary. Next slide, please. So the Jedit solution, by utilizing the Honda Jet, you can buy a share. We do have a corporate supplemental lift program in which individuals can, or companies that already have aircraft, they can use our service to supplement. In some cases, their airplanes may be down for maintenance, their airplanes may be out and about traveling, and you need another solution to move other executives or other team members within your company around. And that's where now Jedit will step in and provide supplemental lift in that particular case. We do have distinct programs for that. And lastly, if your need is a bit more sporadic, if you need to, you can charter a flight with us. We'll coordinate to have the airplane there for you in any of these cases with our professionally trained crews ready to support you and take you to wherever you need to go. Next slide, please. So ultimately, the Jedit experience provides you with a private, fast, and smart solution. Private, you rule your schedule. Leave and depart when you want to. No longer beholden to commercial airline schedules, connections. If you need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock, the airplane will be there as necessary. Our client experience team will work with you and coordinate so we can coordinate your departure to get you on the ground in your meeting on time where you rule your schedule. It's private in the sense that the only people on the airplane are your coworkers, your family. You really cannot beat that opportunity to have the entire airplane available to you for $1,600 an hour. And that's a 6-passenger aircraft that flies up and down the eastern seaboard, New York to South Florida in a 3-hour time frame. The airplane is fast. It's 486 miles per hour. It's spacious. It's comfortable. It has a full-size lavatory. I'm 6 feet, 220 or so, or excuse me, 210 pounds. I fit comfortably in the lavatory. And so to have an airplane that has that much space, I've had Eddie George and another professional football player side by side and across from me in the back of the airplane. You really cannot beat the amount of space that you have. And it's only $1,600 an hour. And that's our owner rate for those individuals who are buying a piece of the airplane. So if you're flying from Richmond to New York, that's less than an hour's time. So it's less than $1,600. And then flying from New York to Chicago on the same day. Again, now it's an hour and a half. So it's you're less than 2 hours of total flight time at this point. And then back to Richmond, in that particular case, you're only flying for 3 hours. You have a full airplane, you've taken 6 people, and it's been less than $4,800 to move 6 people to 3 different locations during the day and have everyone back at home at night. Next slide, please. So what's great about Jedit? The benefits are simple. Scheduling with us, you can call us directly. You'll always have a live client experience for our owners. There is an app available to them to connect with us. Our greatest value is we are 1/5 the cost of normal private travel. I'll state that again, 1/5 the cost of normal private travel, but you're flying the same speeds, you're flying the same to the same locations, and all of our airplanes are brand new. In addition to all of that, we have a 24/7 concierge. It's taking your EA on the road with you. Our team will support anyone and everyone who's flying on us to provide everything that you might need. If you spill coffee on your shirt and you need a new shirt, we'll get you a new shirt. If there's a meal that we can prepare for you and have, or a venue prepared for you, we will set all of those things up for you just the same. And while you're traveling, you have unlimited high-speed Wi-Fi, so you can stay connected, continue to accomplish whatever it is that you and your team need to do, and never miss that next deal, never miss that next opportunity. Capitalize upon everything that's available to you. Next slide, please. As you can see, there are a number of comparisons to everyone else that's in the industry. You can see the distinct cost comparisons where you can have an additional amount of time. I'm happy to share this with anyone, and our team will share this. Next slide, please. And lastly, this pandemic has put us all on our heels, and Jedit can support your corporate outfit by providing you with seamless transportation. Reduce the odds, reduce the risk of your exposure and your team members' exposure. Be someone that everyone wants and enjoys to work for by taking care of your people. Last slide, please. And you can see some of the supporters, the CEO of Happiness, Mr. Chris Gardner, ESPN analyst Matthew Berry, and company Hayden Outdoors. We've also supported Coca-Cola, Santander Bank, and a number of others. Slide, please. And that's our story. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to share. Dominique, over to you.
Thank you so much, Glenn. And it's all about a paradigm shift, right? As we're going through this COVID-19 crisis, everybody's having to make pivots and shifts in their mindset. I love the model. I love the example that you gave. And I watched you on the closing bell explain the company. You know, and one of the commentaries there said, you know, this used to be a pie in the sky, right? It used to be just for your president of your company. Now you can get lower and lower into your C-suite or even below the C-suite, because I know for myself, if I'm flying, it's going to take all day. It's going to take my entire day to make those connections and get to my destination, and I have to navigate through the airport. But with the model you provided, you know, for about $800 a person, you can load the jet with the 6 people on your team, go make that deal, close the deal, and get back home without all the hassle of having to go through the airport and make those connections. And so it becomes a very affordable option when you change your paradigm and look at it from that perspective.
Thank you very much for that, Dominique. It is the natural evolution of transportation. We all want to have more autonomy in how we travel. We all want control of our schedules. We could walk to work in the mornings, but we use our cars. In this particular case, we can use the commercial airlines, but if I can get to my destination directly, and it's now reasonable and justifiable with a company like Jedit, then it gives me that autonomy. It gives me the ability to control my schedule. It gives me that time in life that will eventually run out. So we all take advantage of it.
Excellent. So, you know, you shared the price differential between your competitors, which is significant. I mean, like you said, it's a huge significant price reduction from your competitors. But what is the differentiator between you and your competitors in addition to price? What would you say that is? And I'm not naming your competitors. I never like to say who they are. You put them on the screen. But what would you say sets Jedit apart from everyone else?
Yeah, there are certain things that everyone wants to have when they're traveling privately. The first thing is I want consistency, but the fact that all of our airplanes are brand new, they are all outfitted with Wi-Fi, they are beautifully appointed inside. that provides you with a level of consistency. I want clarity in how the pricing is structured. We are very simplistic, very transparent in who we are and what the costs are to utilize our program. And then the last thing is I want certainty that the airplane will be there when and ready for me to utilize the aircraft. And we provide all of those things: consistency, clarity, and certainty in your utilization of the aircraft and our service. I think the other piece to that, though, Dominique, is you're dealing with a company that is focused on providing a transportation solution that is necessary, that is simple, and that is refined for your needs.
Perfect, perfect. I'm comfortable with you flying the jet, but talk to me about the pilots that you hire.
Absolutely. I'm very proud of the fact that we have 6 military academy graduates that are involved with our organization and that are our pilots. They've been tremendous pilots that have some unique experiences similar to mine, but those are just a few of our pilots. Our pilot fleet on average is about 4,000 hours of experience, flying everything from trainers all the way up through guys like myself flying military fighters and cargo aircraft. And so we have a wealth of experience, and we're all trained to the highest standard of the FAA, which is in private aviation, which is Part 135, which is a charter regulation. So it's not just the pilot training, but it's also the process and organization and controls that are behind that training.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Glenn. So one point of clarification. So I do not have to be an owner member with a share of an aircraft. I can call you just to charter a flight, correct?
That is correct. And you still will find that our charter services are significantly lower than anyone else in the industry. In most cases, it's still going to be lower than those companies that we flashed on the board there. So we are, it's a market rate. There are some additional costs to reposition the airplane, but even in those cases, if you need the airplane, you can call us and we will coordinate your trips for you. It's a great opportunity to experience the JetIt model and the JetIt way of doing travel, and then we can talk about ownership at a later time.
That sounds excellent. So to that point, what is the first step? I'm an MBE that needs to be in Massachusetts tomorrow morning. What's the first step that I would take as an MBE or a corporate partner that wants to reach out to you for my first engagement with JetIt?
Sure. Your first engagement is you can just go to our website. It's gojetit.com. You can call us directly at 833-2JET-IT, and that's TOJETIT. So 2 different methods of reaching us, but the easiest would be to just go to our website, gojetit.com.
Outstanding. Thank you. Are there any questions from the audience, Taya?
Yes, there is, Dominique. The question that we have is, in the wake of the current pandemic and restricted travel for many company employees, have you considered in diversifying your business and maybe transporting PPE equipment, et cetera?
We certainly have. We have had actually a lot of conversations with a couple of states as the pandemic was first coming about to bring items from China. It is a little bit of a stretch to get those get the airplanes from the U.S. to China and bring those things back, but we're happy to engage those conversations and support any of our MPE corporate partners or members as well to support and try to help out our society. So being service-minded is part of who we are.
It's a great question because we reached out to you when we had a PPE need. We reached out to you early on. So thank you for that, Glenn. Any other questions, Taya?
That is there is one more question. So what were some of the barriers you faced and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, well, that could be a very long question. Or answer to the question. I think very simply, the barriers that we've faced, the biggest barriers and how we handle them are just by prior planning, being prepared. And that's something that I learned in the military. You have to prepare for the known the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns. And so we put together our strategy, our business model, and our plan. And we did that. It took us about 2 years to get it together. And that being said, the obstacles and barriers that have been in our way, we were prepared for them and had contingencies in place to operate through them.
Excellent. And clearly you have overcome any obstacles and you've made a major pivot to be accessible to our customers at such a time as this. So Glenn, I just want to thank you for joining us today. Do you have any closing comments that you'd like to make, Glenn?
You know, thank you, Dominique. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. I really just wanted to say that we're excited to share JEDIT with our MBE partners. It is something that not a lot of people take advantage of, but I'm hoping that people will reach out to engage with us and just to learn more. Private aviation is far more accessible than most people are aware of, and we have a wonderful team for everyone to engage with. Just give us a call and let us educate you if you're not familiar.
Thank you so much for joining us, Glenn, today. And thank you for the overview of JEDIT to our corporate customers, our corporate partners, and our MBEs. Change your paradigm. This is totally accessible based on the needs that you have. And if you have any questions further for Glenn, he has provided his information. This video will be up on our website. We are also sharing it with Glenn to help market his business. If there are any MBEs out there who want to be part of the VCB, please reach out to us and get on our list. We are booked up through actually October now, but we are open to more and more MBEs signing up. I will start double booking these sessions, and we'll start having 2 at a time because it is such a popular mode of communicating. We had to make this pivot when we went into the COVID-19 crisis. We were used to making face-to-face appointments. Because that's not possible now, we thought it very important to be able to share with our customers the capabilities of our MBEs, and this has been a mode that has worked very well. So thank you to our participants for joining us. Thank you once again, Glenn, for sharing this information, and we wish you continued success. Thank you so much. Have a great day, folks.
Bye.